I don't think there's really any B tier. I think, or like really bad tier. There's like one, and it's not necessarily that he's bad. It's that there's just not a lot of use for him. But let's go in order. Cyrax, easy S. He's not in the best of the best here. We all know who those two are. For me, Cyrax is as good as he was for HAvik since day one. Of course, without the horizontal copter, he's nowhere near as good. But, you know, that's the same thing for everyone. I'm sure if they buffed the horizontal copter to be maybe like the recharge on it, I would say make it like 7 to 8 seconds instead of 20. Cyrax is immediately probably goes back up to HAvik's best cameo. I would argue it. But overall, Cyrax is really good. You can use a horizontal copter. He still gives the best damage for HAvik, like 45, 47% mid-screen off of pretty much any string. Basic guaranteed neck break setups, pretty much because you kick them so far away, your opponent is basically like railroaded into immediately jumping at you with an armored move, because if they don't, it's a free neck break. So if you're a Tanya, Melina, Johnny, they have to use their armored move to get really close to you to make sure you don't break, basically guarantee 20 to 28% for free. So he's really good. Not to mention in the corner, you can do this really like, what's the word for it? Sneaky. I'll call it sneaky, where if you do the combo, you switch sides. So if the opponent was in the corner, you'll switch sides to where you're in the corner. So you will immediately go for the neck break and your opponent won't realize what happened. And you can immediately switch sides and take them back into the corner, which is amazing. I've won a bunch of games like that earlier when Cyrax was still, you know, like the guy for HAvik. But yeah, overall, dude's a beast. Frost, probably gonna get some heat for this, but I don't really see Frost as that good anymore. Like back in the day, I used to think she was probably the best cameo for HAvik. Maybe not the best, but definitely top 3. But as the game's gone on, I've realized like you really want those safe lows more than like guaranteed combos, because if the low hits, that's great. Sure, it has the little frozen penalty where you're not going to do as much, but it's if it's blocked, you're like minus 20 or something like that, and it's full combo, and it's not that HAvik does that much damage off the freeze to be worth it. HAvik naturally does not do a lot of damage anyway. You're probably doing maybe like 20-30% or 28 to 30% by himself, and that's if you're really doing like the crazy optimal stuff. So it's really not worth it. Like if I was doing 38%, I could understand it's high risk, high reward, but for HAvik, the risk is always against him. The back 2-2, the grab, and the low. If the low is blocked, if the grab is blocked, it's a full combo punish. I get 10% if it lands. It's not that good of a mix-up, in my opinion. But to get back to Frost, a bit side tangent, I'm struggling in ranked. Frost, the orb is cool, but it doesn't come out fast enough nor move fast enough to really be a threat to catch somebody. So the minute they wake up, the minute you can bring it out, they can down one you and it's pretty much gone. It's no real threat. The low is good, but once again, it's kind of like a worse version of Kung Lao's. She's really good at a lot of things, but not great at anything. And for that reason, I think I'll probably put her like somewhere in the middle. When this is said and done, I'd probably put her somewhere in the middle of all of this. Goro is... I don't know, because Goro, in my opinion... That's really interesting. I think I'd probably put Goro over Frost for the simple fact that Goro has the little up punch where you can keep everything safe. So if you wanted to go for the down back 4, which is the punch walk with HAvik for a bunch of chip, you can use Goro to keep yourself safe. So you just chip your opponent for maybe like 5 to 10%, and kept yourself safe. Maybe you didn't take the turn back, maybe you did, but you at least chipped them for a bunch of damage. And to me, I think that that alone is good. Not to mention the overhead can combo. And he still does have the little jump, but nobody really does that. And he also has the punch walk. Goro has a punch walk as well that keeps him safe, but you really won't use that because the up punch is just that much better than everything else. I think that Goro probably rests somewhere in the perfect middle ground for HAvik. I personally won't use him, but I do think he offers a little bit more overall than Frost. Jax is one of those characters that I think is slowly starting to rise as a cameo option for HAvik. Maybe, I don't know if I put him top 5. We'll see as this goes on. Jax has a lot of interesting things where, for one, he's like Cyrax, where you can combo off of the back forward 2 where HAvik does the roll and the throw up, and basically get another, keep the combo going off the neck break as well. He also, because HAvik can armor through Jax's ground punch, you can just hit your opponent, and I think it combos. It might give you the splat hit reaction, but even then, that's still free damage technically, which is stupid good. I think, in my opinion, Jax is probably one of the more sneakily good cameos for HAvik that are not a lot of people are using, me included. Maybe I'll use him more in videos. Let me know if y'all want to see that. But yeah, Jax, the little elbow attack is really good too, to just keep the opponent off you. Not that HAvik has a lot of unsafe attacks, but even still, it's worth it to do it just to get them off you so you can downform, maybe use the orbs to create a little bit more space and control space. But yeah, I think Jax is really good and actually might be my next, project character or project cameo for HAvik. Kano. Now, I know what I just said about Jax, but I do think that Kano is probably, does what he does, but it's a little bit in, how do I word it? What Kano does is very interesting. Because a lot of the things I've seen him do is from who I personally believe is the best HAvik player in Mr. Strange. But being able to, threaten the opponent with the little Kano ball, just leave it running in the back, and then you just go for a grab, the threat that you will get hit will immediately make you want to block. So your opponent either takes it and it gets hit by the Kano, or takes the throw and Kano just goes away. That is super interesting to me. Obviously, Kano can add more damage onto HAvik's back forward 2 to throw up move. He can keep moves safe with the throw. I don't think I've ever really seen anybody use Kano's the thing they just made it mid, the eye laser, really just because it's kind of bad and very punishable. You want to do that junk full screen, otherwise you're going to get full combo punished for all of your life. Kano just has a lot of really interesting technical things that, if done properly, he can probably become one of the most oppressive cameos for HAvik. And for that reason, I think I'd put him just a bit over Jax. Like, I could be convinced like it's 1, 2, 1, like I could be convinced it's one of these, like this or this, but right now I think I'd put Kano just a little bit over Jax, just a little bit. Lao, I think I'd put Lao like here, for the simple fact that as I stated, with the reason that I personally don't like Frost, the reason I like Kung Lao, even though it's been nerfed, the low hat is safe. So you can constantly force your opponent to have to respect the low, and eventually they will get caught by the overhead, because now they're so worried about the low that the overhead will clip them maybe once a game, right? Condition the opponent into thinking that the low will come, and you've now opened them up for an overhead. And even if that doesn't happen, you're still getting semi-decent chip from the Lao, right? If you use the Lao back in the day, it was +2, +3 or something like that. And you could basically it was forever your turn, technically, if you knew how to down one and keep catching your opponent to stop pressing buttons. Now I think it's -2. It's no longer your turn, but you can still steal your turn back with a down one if your opponent tries to just attack for free, right? Everything else that Lao does isn't really useful to HAvik. Like the spin isn't really useful because HAvik already has a meterless launcher, so there's no real point to use it unless you're trying to switch places with somebody in the corner. There's no reason to do it. And I guess technically HAvik gets a free teleport, gets a teleport with Lao, but it's not that good, and if your opponent knows it's coming, you're basically going to get free punished for everything you own. I think that Lao is basically just the low hat, but the low hat is just so good that it's pretty much integral. Oh, maybe not integral. You know what? Now that I think about it, I'll probably put him back here. But yeah, the low hat is so good that it's basically still worth it to use Lao over, I would argue, these two. Oh, not to mention, my bad. You know what? No. Never mind. Because I forgot, you can delay the hat and create overhead low mix-ups mid-combo. That's my fault. I totally forgot about that. That's on me. So you can open up opponents even harder than Frost, Goro, and, in my opinion, Cyrax. So, yeah, I think I'll put Lao over those two. Those three. My bad. I totally forgot about that. That's on me. My bad. Motaro. Now, Motaro's in this weird position where I'm going to put him here, but I kind of want to put an asterisk next to Motaro because I, for one, haven't tested Motaro after the more recent buffs that he got, to where I think the low beam is plus now, but I haven't really tested if Motaro actually has any type of like synergy or anything interesting with HAvik. Before, I didn't really like him. Like, he didn't really have much. The low really wasn't that good. The low projectiles that he fires rapidly really weren't that good. The teleport, really, unless you were Shao Kahn, you weren't using. And the reflect, it's good, but Sub-Zero does what Motaro does way better. It's faster, it's better. It doesn't take all of your meter just to make sure you get in one time. I just think Motaro at that time wasn't that good, but with the more recent buffs, maybe he's probably he probably could go up to high A, but for now I'll probably put him in B just because he doesn't do enough. I'll probably talk myself into putting him in Chaos tier, but for now let's put him in S, okay? Scorpion, the reason nobody used Scorpion for real, unless you were like Melina or, just Melina, was because of the overhead. You had overhead low mix-ups for like super damaging combos. But the caveat was, if it was blocked, you were full punishing them for all they were worth. And that alone was enough to break people's spirit. Now that the overhead is -2, I believe, you can just throw it out and you are pretty much safe. It is super good for HAvik, especially like you can create, you can just throw it out in neutral. He has some really good combos from the fireballs. He can combo the back forward 2 and keep the what's called, and he can, if you use him and just put him by the opponent, your opponent can't jump or do any attack that launches themselves into the air. So let's say you're fighting another HAvik who tries to do the back 2-2. If he does the back 2 and your Scorpion's out, he will immediately be hit by the fireballs because it's a launching attack, or an attack where he launches himself into the air and be hit by it full combo. It's kind of like Li Mei's Lantern for HAvik, where if you try to do the back 2 while Li Mei's Lantern is out, you'll hit the lantern and she just hits you for 40% because Li Mei just shits out damage, it's kind of stupid. Nerf it? No, I'm kidding. I really like Scorpion. Maybe a little bit of bias, I'll admit. But he is just so much fun to use. And I want to record more videos with him for the ranked videos. Now, Shujinko is another character I'll put an asterisk with, but I don't like him. I don't think I will ever really find a use for Shujinko, for the simple fact that it requires you to pretty much have at least some decent matchup knowledge on what Shujinko's Shujinko will acquire when he has the meter available. And even then, a lot of the times he's not getting crazy stuff. Now, if you're playing against a Kenshi, you can like TOD so fast, but most of the time it's like really only okay moves. I personally don't like Shujinko, not as a character, but as a cameo. Personally, if I were to give him a buff, I would say like at game start, or at game start, let him get half meter so he can get one use. But the problem with Shujinko is just it requires too much matchup knowledge. It requires certain amounts of matchup knowledge for you to be able to use him effectively. And I think playing HAvik is already hard enough that you don't want to add another handicap just for fun's sake, in quotations. In my opinion, you would rather just use somebody that helps mitigate a lot of the problems HAvik already has, and not just add on to it by having a person that you got to build the meter up, get two ones that are only okay at best. He just doesn't have a lot. I'll say that. He just doesn't have a lot to help HAvik's case. I'll say that. Sonya, Sonya is one of those characters I must admit that outside of the beginning of the game, I haven't played with much. Like, the reason I chose Sonya for HAvik was quite simply just because I used Sonya a lot during the beta and was like, oh, she puts out a bunch of damage, 140 forward throw. I still don't know why she has the most damage on a throw in the game. I don't get it. And decent enough zoning with the energy projectiles. But now I'm not sure, simply just because she doesn't do a lot. You know what I mean? Like, you're really only going to use, like, at the time, you were really only using the air punch just to continue combo so that she did a bunch of damage. You weren't using the leg move because a lot of times it didn't connect with a lot of HAvik strings. But now, maybe there's some stuff there. You know what? Actually, I think I'll put her, like, back here. But yeah, with Sonya, maybe there's some stuff there where with the little energy cancels and the fact that it hits mid, I think it hits mid now. I think they changed that just recently, but with the fact that it hits mid, now, you might be able to do some more crazy little sneaky setups or sneaky interesting setups with her. But for right now, I think I'll probably just keep her A. You know what? Nah, I think I'll put her B. I think she's only okay. Now, Sub-Zero. Anybody who has watched my channel for any amount of time knows that I am a humongous fan of Sub-Zero as a cameo. I think outside of maybe one character that's not on the list yet, he is the best character to use for HAvik. Because a lot of people who use HAvik know that his projectiles are very slow. Like, I mean very slow, to the point where it's basically like if you ever got into a zoning war with say a Sindel, a Reiko, especially a Reiko, Shang Tsung, Rain, you're going to lose like 9 times out of 10 because it takes too long, and if you're hit, the orb explodes. So it's not that good. But with Sub-Zero, you mitigate that by being able to tank the hit and be able to still send yours out in enough time. The only person that Sub-Zero loses to is Reiko, and that's simply because the way Sub-Zero's armor works is it's hit based, not duration based. So if five attacks hit the armor, it breaks. Reiko, if he EXs the ninja stars, throws 5 ninja stars. So in 1 bar, he's shredded the entire Sub-Zero, what's called. So now you pretty much are back to square zero. In my opinion, Sub-Zero cooks almost everybody but Reiko. I think that's the only one that Sub-Zero is like kinda bad against. But beyond that, even just the ice, not armor, the ice aura, where you can freeze the opponent, he probably gives you I would say the third best damage, third or fourth best damage consistently with HAvik. It's around 34 to like 36% mid screen, and it's like 40 to 41 corner, which is ridiculously good. Even the little ice shoulder is really good to keep them off. I really love Sub-Zero. Not to mention, you know, the fact that I think he has the second highest throw damage with 130. I think he has the second highest. Don't quote me on that. But Sub-Zero, to me, is absolutely one of the best cameos to use for HAvik. Bar none. Bar none. Darius. See, Darius is in that same vein with like Scorpion, where he is sneakily good because of the new buff he just got, where Darius is one of the only characters. To me, Darius is like is one of those. To me, Darius is one of those characters that's new as well, where he just pops up to be stupidly good. With the new change, where if your opponent, when the opponent is getting up, you can use him as an ambush to create an immediate overhead low mix-up. And even though the overhead splats, if you time it correctly, you can combo off of it. That alone is amazing. But he's also one of the only characters in the game who allows you to continue the combo from his command grab. From the command grab, from the throw, or not, we have the throw too, but from the back forward 2, he is very good at, not to mention, he also has a lot of his attacks do a lot of damage, surprisingly. The little combo, what's called for his little, what do you call them? His cameo combo, or what do they call it? Cameo combos? The one where he does like a whole bunch of stuff and you grab him and start spinning. That does a lot of damage, surprisingly. I didn't know that until I went against a HAvik Darius. I lost, admittedly, but that he does sneakily a lot of damage. I didn't know that. Overall, I think, you know what? I think I put Darius like there though. That overhead is good, but the timing can be a little bit wonky to get the overhead to hit. Yeah, to get the overhead to hit first, so your low can hit, so you can combo it. Because if you time it wrong, they splat right on the ground and it's kind of pointless. But once again, the thing for me is, like, while that's good, it doesn't offer enough in an all-encompassing manner to warrant using Darius. Yeah, like, I would rather use, actually, yeah, saying that, I think I still probably put him like here. Like, he's good for like Oki pressure and stuff, but overall, say if you're fighting a zoner or somebody who's good at space, you're going to kind of have a bit more challenge trying to get in on them. And I think these, 6 characters do that, help you a little bit more with that than Darius. A little bit. A lot of it. Either way, I would put him there. Next up is Sareena. See, to me, Sareena is like the quintessential, like, easy button for newer players and really annoying in experienced players' hands. Like, for casual players, this is the de facto best cameo in the game for a lot more of the casual players, because they really like just seeing, you know, big damage combos. Everyone does, obviously, but it's really easy to get high damaging combos with Sareena, because you can just do like a 1-2, throw the glaives, 1, 2, further glaives. You already at like 900% right there. It's annoying to go against, but now that people are starting to use the little floor aura to make sure you don't have enough bar to break, it's even more annoying to go against a Sareena. Because once again, the things that Sareena does is she's really good at a lot of what I like to do with Sub-Zero, which is control space, force your opponent to sit down and have to, and while they're sitting down, you're able to move to close in the distance. And with that, Sareena does that very well too, with the fact that the glaives come out, which is forcing you to sit down and you can't move, because if you stand up, that's a full combo for me. Sure, you can punish it, but a lot of the people do not know how to punish it. And even me, like HAvik, I don't know how to punish it for a full combo. I just do down 4 twice to make sure that my opponent cannot get in on me. I really do like Sareena. The fact that you can just constantly take meter. Actually, I just thought about that. I forgot to mention Cyrax's new buff where he's able to siphon meter with the net. That's also really good too. Maybe I'll move him. I think I'll move him up because of that too, actually. But yeah, Sareena being able to siphon meter, and especially if you put them in the corner where you are constantly siphoning meter, it's annoying as all hell. Yeah, I don't know. I think I have to put Sareena right there. I have to, right? Not to mention, Sareena has this really interesting thing where she can be HAvik's new wake up option, because anyone who has used HAvik for some amount of time knows that his arm is not a good wake up option unless your opponent is overly aggressive, because a lot of the time it's very slow and it's not going to trade in your favor. A lot of time it's going to be pretty bad trades. And if you're going against like a Tanya, Johnny, Reiko, they'll parry it and you just ate even more damage for no apparent reason. But with Sareena, it replaces that with the little move where she turns into like her demon form and does a little up attack. And because that move has armor, you can use that to replace the arm, and it basically functions as the same thing. Sure, it's 2 bars, or not 2 bars. You only get 2 of them instead of the 3 with your actual meter, but I'd rather have an attack that I can use to get somebody off me than the arm where I might land it, and if I don't land it, I'm going to be, straight up power bombed for guessing wrong. Overall, yeah, I think Sareena, I think I would probably put her, if not in the top 5, top 8 for sure. No ifs, ands, buts about it. Sektor. Sektor is in this really interesting what's called, where I think I want to try him out more, but I also don't really know where I would put him for HAvik, at least. Because for one, the Oki setups are really, really stupid. Like being able to, break, I would say 99% of the cast armor. Unless you're HAvik, you're not going to get through the armor, because you immediately fire. You immediately fire the thing into the air, and they have to delay, which forces you to immediately basically get a free turn anyway. Really good restands with the flame. If your opponent is zoning out of this world, you can do the little up teleport to at least get some in on them. The ability to basically just say fuck neutral is very interesting to me for Sektor, because you can just throw out the missile and your opponent immediately has to be wary of it, because if they attack too much, you can basically hit them for all they're worth. I think even still, I would rather have these guys over Sektor, just because he doesn't do nearly as much as of the rest of them though. He's a good option, but personally, I wouldn't use him though. And in my opinion, the de facto best person for HAvik is Stryker. We all know how much of a menace Stryker is. Baraka Stryker, HAvik Stryker, you're a Stryker, I'm a Stryker, he's a Stryker. Who knows? For Stryker, he's really good for one move and one move only, the grenades. If it was the little mix-ups, the overhead lows, he wouldn't be as good because simply the overhead lows aren't all that good. They splat, which immediately makes your opponent, wary of them, sure, but they're not all that they're not all that enticing to use him as a cameo when you can just use somebody else. If he didn't have these grenades, or these grenades were all highs or something like that, he'd be somewhere off. Without the grenades, he's somewhere like down here, maybe over here. With these grenades, he's stupid. The fact that you can just say, forget waking up against Stryker, HAvik included, because if you do the armor with Stryker or against somebody who threw the Stryker grenades, 2 hits of your armor are already gone, which means any person can break your armor now. And you get to do the same. You throw the armor, if you do the back forward 2 EX and go for the neck break, after you if you throw the grenades and go for the neck break, your opponent cannot go for a wake up option, because if they do, they'll be hit by the grenades and they lost. Like, they already lost that interaction. It's basically, I either sit there, let them break my neck and get hit by let them break my neck and get hit for like 22 to 26%, or go for a wake up, get hit by Stryker's grenades and still get my neck broken. So it's basically almost a guaranteed option. If that alone is really good. Obviously he still has the little command grab restand, which I don't think I've seen anyone hit me with since day one. But overall, I think Stryker lives on this throne because of the grenades. But I've had a few comments on it, but asking why I don't use Stryker over Sub-Zero. Personally, if you've seen my videos, you know that I personally like to control space more than what Stryker offers. Like, I like being able to jump back when the round starts, jump back, control space with the orbs and the back forward 3, and force my opponent to have to sit and make a mistake so I can get in. You know what I mean? Instead of, not to mention Sub-Zero gives me way better damage than Stryker consistently for me. But me personally, I just personally enjoy what Sub-Zero offers for my playstyle for HAvik than Stryker. That's really it. Real quick, because I just noticed they weren't on this list, I forgot to mention Tremor, and I'm gonna do like a little prediction, I guess, for Chameleon. Tremor, he would probably be somewhere in B. I personally really do not like Tremor for HAvik, really just because I could not find many good things to use for HAvik. For one, crystalline armor is kind of bad. It's not really usable. It's slow, and I think it works like Sub-Zero's armor, where it's 5 hits of armor and then you're done. The overhead low rocks really aren't gonna land. You're probably only going to use Tremor for the same reason Reiko players use Tremor, which is a little ground shock move. And so you can go command grab or the corpse taunt, and Tremor shakes the ground and you grab him and you go for the neck break, or you go for the roll again. That's really it. Overall, I just personally don't understand why you'd use Tremor over any of these options. Like, in my opinion, I would argue Tremor is probably somewhere down in B or the good luck. Now, as for Chameleon, of course it's too early to tell, because as I'm recording this, as you can see, it's like a month or so before she's out. But I personally see Chameleon probably being somewhere around where Frost and them are, where they just are. She's really good and probably will give you a bunch of damage, but doesn't really address HAvik's weaknesses. So it's more like a win more option instead of like a win condition with HAvik. It's like you're using Chameleon because she's really cool, instead of addressing what HAvik really needs to function at a much better level than what he currently functions at. So for that, I think I'd probably put her between Goro and Frost. But yeah, this is my list. Let me know what y'all think. of course, it's something different from what my usual content is for this channel, which is, you know, the ranked videos, but want to, you know, help, you know, aspiring HAvik mains see what kind of cameos are good and bad for HAvik. And as somebody who's been playing this version of HAvik for like 4 months since day one, I think I'm at least semi-qualified to say what is good and bad for HAvik. But let me know what you guys think, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.